Hello everyone. In our first video, we learned how to install platform to run Python codes. Today, let's start with familiarizing ourselves with the Jupyter Notebook. To do so, in your search engine, first type Anaconda Navigator. So once you click on this app, a window like this would open, which allows you to use platforms like Spider and Notebook. You can see Spider here and you can see Notebook. Today, we are going to start with Jupyter Notebook. Once you click on the launch button in your Explorer, it would open a home window for you like this. Let's learn today how to create a new file and try some basic codes with learning some new concepts and how to save them. So if you click on new button in your Python 3, you click on Python 3 kernel, a new window would open for you. So this is where we code. Let's try something. Let's try print hello world. Now, you can run this code either by using the play button above or you can use the shortcut Shift Enter. So your results would be displayed. Now, how do you know that this is a code section? So above, there is a button which is showing code. Select the cell type. Now, when you drop down, you see something called a markdown. So markdown is used if you want to comment or put notes in your code. For example, I want to change it to markdown and I want to comment something. So you put a hash space, say hello, this is the starting. And if you run this, then this gives you a bold text and this is not a code. Okay, so if you want to save this, now you can change the title by clicking and give it a name, let's say ABC, and rename. And you can save this. Click on save button and it is saved in your home page. So now I have this ABC saved. Okay, now let's start with the contents for today's video. So what we're going to cover is introduction to functions, the print function and its usage, two types of arguments, position and keyword, and some examples of the same. So let's begin with functions. An introduction. What is a function? Function is a separate part of computer code which is able to do two things. Number one, cause some effect. For example, create a file, read a file, draw a line. Secondly, evaluate a value. For example, square root of a number and return it as a function's result. Now let's learn more about the different segments of a function and what is required. First of all, you have a function name. The function name should be a significant name. What it means is it is encouraged to use a function name which in itself explains what it does. It should have some meaning. Secondly, a function requires an argument. For example, in maths we have sin x function. Okay, so x becomes your argument here. Similarly, the print function which we just used, we used print hello world in a single double quotes. So that becomes your one argument. Hello world becomes your one argument. Similarly, print x, so x becomes your one argument. Thirdly, it requires a pair of parentheses, which means an open and close parenthesis. Now, let's move on. Let's understand from where these functions come from. There could be three ways. One is there could be an inbuilt Python function which is already defined, for example, your print function. Secondly, there could be add-on functions which are there already exist in some existing packages which you may require to install. Thirdly, you can also write your own function. Now let's look at what is required when we are writing our own function. So you should first focus on the function name. So the function name should be significant. As I just explained, it should be meaningful. It is encouraged to use a name which in itself defines what the function is doing. Secondly, it can have alphabets, uppercase, lowercase, it can have digit, it can have an underscore character. Thirdly, it should not start with a digit. Fourthly, it should not have spaces. Fifth, it should not have a name which is pre-existing. For example, you cannot create a function with the same name as print because it is already there, existing in the inbuilt Python functions. Now let's look at some examples to understand what is allowed and what is not allowed. My first example, first row, 0 underscore override. It is not allowed because it is starting with a digit 0. Secondly, my space function. This is not allowed because there is a space in between. Now look at a different version of the same two which is allowed. The second one is override underscore 0. Now it explains its meaning. It is overriding things to 0. Secondly, it has an underscore and the digit is also not in the first of the character. Now second is my underscore function. Now this clears the space between it, so it is acceptable. Now moving on, how to call a function and how does it function. So now function invocation, also called as a function calling, is how we call a function. So how do we call it? For example, I have a function underscore name and I would start a parenthesis and put an argument and then close the parenthesis. This is how the function is called. And how does it work is, number one, firstly what it does, it checks that the name specified of the function is legal. As I mentioned, all the characteristics we just learned about how the function name has to be defined are met. Secondly, it checks the number of arguments entered are allowed to invoke the function. Thirdly, it leaves your code and then jumps to invoke the function. Fourth, the function executes the code and then causes the desired effect. Fifth, it returns to your code and then returns the result. Now let's look at the print function, which we have just used. What it does, it creates an effect. It takes an argument, converts into readable form if required, and then send the resulting data to the output. Secondly, let's look at argument expectation. Okay, so there is, you can pass any arguments or you can pass none arguments. Okay, then you have, what it means is, look at the example. So I can write print hello as one argument, so it will accept this one argument, and if I do not put anything, it will still run and it will not throw an error. So it is accepting none argument also. Thirdly, what values returned? It does not return any value. It only creates an effect. Okay. Now let's move on. So what we understand right now is, if I write too many words or something, blah blah blah, I'm typing anything, it will still come as one output in a single line. What if I want 2-3 lines of print? What do I do? So then let's learn about the escape in the new line character. So the backslash is called the escape character. It means that the next character after the backslash is escaped, and a combination of backslash and end character is named the new line character, which urges the console to start a new output line. Right? Let's look at the example. So my first line here says print hello world. Okay. In the second, I have added backslash n in between hello and world. Let's see the output. So the first will give hello world in a single line. The second will break it, and after hello it creates a new line and put the remaining result in the second line. Now, as we understand, backslash, what it is doing is, it is escaping the next character. What if I want to print the backslash? If I need to print the backslash, then we would use a double backslash so that it works and prints. Let's look at it. In my next example, I have used double backslash. So now it has printed my backslash here. Okay. Now let's move on. More about print function. The print function can be invoked with more than one argument. What it does, it outputs them all in one line and put space between those argumented arguments on its own initiative. Let's try it. So look at this example, print A, B, C, D, E, F, G, F. There is no space after C, there is no space before D or after F and anything. Let's look at the output. The output is A, B, C space D, E, F space G, E, F. So what I just showed to you is that by default it creates spaces between the output arguments. Now let's look more about the print function. So the print function has positional way of passing argument, meaning that its meaning is dictated by position. What it means is that the ABC, that the DEF, we just look at the example that ABC, DEF, GEF, that the DEF would come after ABC and GEF would come after DEF. Okay, this is called positioning because the position of DEF is after ABC. That is why in the output also it would come after ABC. Now let's try something. So let's look at the example of positional way of passing arguments. In my first example, print, I have given print Adam, Brian and Caesar. So the output should be in the same sequence, Adam, Brian and Caesar. In the second example, I put Brian first and Adam later. Then the output should be also in the same way. So this explains your positional argument passing. Okay. Now let's learn more about these arguments. So there are two types of arguments. One is positional arguments and the second is keyword arguments. The first position argument means that the meaning is dictated by their position. The second one, keyword argument, means that its meaning is dictated by a special word used to identify them. Let's understand them with examples and its application. Okay. So we understood already about the position arguments. We have seen the print examples. Now let's look at the second one, keyword arguments. For that, let's pick up the first one, which is the end keyword argument and its application in print function. So this argument or any keyword argument consists of three elements. First, there should be a keyword, for example, end, then an equal sign, then a value should be assigned to this argument. The keyword argument have to be put after the last positional argument. That is key for us. Let's try them. So in my first example, let's look at this. Print line says we have two arguments, my name is and Python dot, and the second print we have Monty space Python as one argument. So let's look at its output. This is the output. It gives this output with spaces. My name is first argument and space Python. Then in a new line we have Monty Python. Now let's use the end keyword argument. In the first line, after that I've put end equal to, then between double quotes we have the value which we want to assign, which is a space. Let's look at the output now. So now if you notice, instead of creating a new line and putting these into two parts, it has given us the output in a single line. So after Python dot, my last argument of the first print, it creates a space and then gives the second print output. So what we understand from these two examples is that the default end keyword argument is implicitly used as end equal to \n. That means it creates implicitly, it by default creates a new line. Now let's look at the second example, sep keyword. Now the sep keyword is a keyword to separate instead of spaces in the print function. Okay, so in the print function, as we understand, by default it creates spaces between multiple arguments that you pass in it. So now if you want to change and use some other character, okay, for example you want to put commas, underscore, then how do we do it? Let's look at the example. In my first print line, my name is Monty and Python are three arguments. So by default the result would be we would have spaces between first, second argument and between second and third argument. Now instead in the second line, if I want to separate them with underscore, so you use sep keyword equal to and between the double quotes we have underscore. Now let's look at the example results. The first gives you space between the three arguments, and in the second example we have underscore. So this is how we use a sep keyword argument. Now let's combine the two arguments end and sep and let's look at it. Let's break these two lines first and understand the result of these two lines separately, and then we'll combine them. Okay. The first one, I have three arguments. My name is, we want to separate it with a star, so that is why we have given sep equal to star and then end it with underscore. So let's look at the result. My star name star is, and then we have an underscore. Now in the second line, print fine, we have two keywords, sep and end, and then two arguments, Monty and Python dot, we want to separate with a star, and in the end we have defined \n. That means after that we want a line, new line to be created. Let's look at the result. So it creates Monty star Python dot and then creates a new line after that. Now let's combine these two and see the result. So now in the first in 3 arguments we have star in between, then we are ending it with an underscore, and then in the second result we have Monty star Python again because we have a separator star, then we have a backslash. Let's change, let's put comma instead and let's run it. So in between the first we have star comma now, and in the second line we have a star. So in essence, a sep argument is a separator between the outputted arguments. You can define with this, and in the end argument is what to print at the end of the print statement. That is all for today. You can try some examples at your end, play with them, and that is all. Thank you.